Namaskar and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology debunking mythology. Sattology means science of truth or study of truth. Opposite of that is mythology, which means science or study of fake, lie, or imagination. So today I have a very, very special guest. He has come after a long time and we are talking about Ganesh. So let's do Sri Ganesh. Let's begin it. So without delay, let us welcome Sri RVS Mani, author of multiple books and a famous TV panelist of India. So, so welcome Maniji for the show to the show.
Welcome.
So one of the things which I really liked about your book, Deception, I got a hold of that book, that you did not use the real name but told the real story. And,
Thank you.
and that is a very fantastic way of describing a current event. Is it like a scholarly masterpiece? I can say that. And
Thank you very much.
when I was in India, I was gifted that book by someone I do not know. And when I came here, I opened my trunk and the book was there. So I read it and there are many things which you mentioned over there. But in this show, you don't talk much about politics or anything else.
No, I don't. I keep it. Sattology is only for truth. And pure truth. Pure truth.
Thank you.
And the truth, actually, I want to sensitize the people about the elements around us, about the power process pyramid and about the time-space continuum, and that is what is Sattology all about.
Thank you. So one of the things which really strikes me is like when you and I speak, and I think you speak with everyone, Ganesha. Ganesha. And which is a wonderful way. Ganesh is not only Vignaharta, he's a Gana, he's a chief of all the Gana, and he's also the son of Shivji and Parvati. And also he's the person who wrote Mahabharata. And Mahabharata, we all know, there are just so much details that it's impossible for a human being to finish in one life. It's like if people want to see a TV soap opera, start reading Mahabharata from age 9, you'll not be done till age 100. It's so much detail, So tell us about a little about Ganesha, which we all worship. Like I'm trained in Narad Pancharatrika Vidhi. So I know how the Narad Pancharatrika Vidhi, all the Shodash Upchar happens. I know them very well through mantra and do it on Shalagram. But what is the importance of Ganesha in our lives?
See, I think we have discussed it together. Very simply put, you said he is the Lord of Ganas. He is the master of all Ganas. And what is Gana? Gana is logic, technology. See, for everything, there is a logic. And let us get it very clear. Gananam Isha. The Isha means the Ishvara. Ishvara means the Lord is the God. Gananam Isha is Ganesha. Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamaya. Ganapati. That is the real true meaning of essence of Ganesha. Gananam Isha is Ganesha. And I have discussed it in my other videos also in the album. How Ganesha, the manifestation of Gananam Isha is Ganesha. Because for every process which is happening in this, the underlying logic is represented by or articulated by Ganesha. And that is the reason, unless and until there is no logic, there will be no process, there will be no power consumed and all. So that is the way he is known as Pranava. Pranava means he causes the logic to. With his logic, the logic only triggers for everything. See, mathematical logic, Ganasya iti Ganesha, iti Gana is Ganita hai. Gana iti, that is mathematics, Ganita hai. 2 will come only after 1, that is logic. In the serial counting, in the natural numbers, whether it is the whole numbers, whether it is the integers, all these things are Ganita hai. Whether it is the real analysis, it is the Cauchy's integrals, whether how the integration happens, what is the differentiation happens, including the minutest particle. All these things are manifestation of Ganesha. And that is the Ganesha. And Ganesha is supposed to have two consorts. Consorts simply means it comes out of the word consortium. Consortium. So one Ganesha is known as the Siddhi Vinayaka or Siddhi Ganesha. Siddhi. A logic. When a logic, how do you establish a logic in mathematics? You say prove it. You go through the derivative form. Aditya, am I with you? Hello.
Yes, you're there.
It is the
Yes.
mathematics is validation. It is called validation. It is called in Hindi or in Sanskrit. It is called Siddh Karna. So that is the way a valid logic is validated. That is Siddhi Vinayaka, Siddhi Ganesha. Another consortium is known as the out of box. It is called the extrapolation, and it is called Buddhi Vinayaka. Buddhi. You use your brain. You use your resources. Riddhi means resource. You create a fictional, prove it wrong, and so validate that this is true. The logic is true. So that is known as the Siddhi, Buddhi, Ganesha. This is how the Ganesha. I have explained this in a very simple say. So that is the reason that is why he is known as Pranava, Onkara. That is how it happens. And in Ganesha Sahasranamam, if you see the Namavali, only for this reason, Ganesha is also known as Prathamaya Namaha. Prathama. Prathama means first. Then it comes Prathamasya Ishvara, Prathameshwaraya Nama. Prathameshwaraya Nama. Prathamaya Nama, Prathameshwaraya Nama. So this is the essence of Ganesha. And so once the logic is set perfectly right, it is when you get the logic right. What do we do even in a machine or even in everything? When it is having a obstacle, we find what is it logically, what is it that is creating the inertia, what is it that is creating the friction. You will find that some chain is not properly aligned. And that is the reason. But if you check all these things, the logics are all right, the fittings are all right, there are no resistances, your performance automatically goes this. That is the reason he is known as the remover of obstacles. Vinaya Nashana, Vinayaka, Vinayaka, who can solve the problems of, who can set right the Vinayas, who can set right the delays, the obstacles, the remover of all obstacles. He is known as Vinayaka. So this is how the Ganesha's names are very, very essential. And that is how the concept, the Ganesha, yes, he is about so many things, but right from the beginning, the emphasis of our knowledge systems on the Gana, Ganasya Isha. So why he is called first, why he is entitled to the first, why he is called Prathama? Because even in our knowledge system, in every knowledge system, irrespective of it is the Abrahamic knowledge, whether it is the Islamic knowledge system or any civilization, local civilization knowledge system, they always first go through the logic. You say, whether it is in the chemistry, you follow the equation and get it right, or whether it is in mathematics, you get the equations and get it right. It is the logic which is the represented by Ganesha. It is go later on, it gets into the epistemological level, then the metaphysical level. But ultimately, at a commensal level, when you and I talk, to make you understand why Prathama, Prathameshwara has to happen, why Ganesha is the first thing, why it occurs. What do you say when you struggle to see the entire our life is a process of a chariot. It's a ratham. Are you getting it? It is a chariot. We are all moving towards the moksha, or we will be moving to the Mangala Milan. That is what is our manifestation. Karma, moksha, the artha, dharma, kama, moksha. Artha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. First, get your order right. Then create value addition, artha. Create sustained value addition to the sansara, Vishwa, world. Then kama, for progenation and all this commensal and physiological needs. Then ultimately raise yourself to the moksha level. It is concurrent also the dharma artha. Because for everything there is a dharma also, there is an orderly way of doing it. Whether it is to institutionalize through marriages and the family mechanisms and all, there is an orderly way of doing it. That is what the latest challenges to our order, Sanatana Dharma is there. So that Dharma is there. So for everything there is a Gana. And for everything there is a logic for it. And all these things, that is the reason in every aspect of life, Gana comes first. The process of observing the Dharma also, again, we have to go through the Gana. So that is the reason it says Gana Nam Swaganapati. Gana Atvam Ganapatim, it comes like that. So, and even in the Vedic practicing Vedic scholars, there is 2-3 levels of iterations which happen. First is known as the normal iteration, which is done chandasa, through the normal intonation. The first level of reinforced practice. Then it comes to the krama pata. Krama means there is, numbers, the internal numbers are calculated, and according to that, the entire Vedic Anuvaka is. Then it take you over to the Ganapata. Ganapata is the trying to find the logic of the entire Vedic. What is the essence of that? What is the, see, even now, what do you say? When a man gets the highest academic degree in the formal method, even today in American university, in British university, in Indian university, everywhere, it says, irrespective of the subject he has studied, they say he has doctored the philosophy of the subject. So if there are doctor of philosophy in economics, earlier days they were Ganapadis in economics, in Arthashastra, they are Ganapadis in Rig Veda, they are Ganapadis in Vaishishya, Yoga Deepika, like that. So that is what is Ganapati. Now, that is the essence of Gana, without drifting, right? So he is the doctor of the world, he is the doctor of the entire philosophy of the world, Ganesha. So that is the reason in the current situation, if you want to liken, although it is not be very, it will be very cumbersome for us to really correlate it, but in the current level of understanding of the people, if you want to see the Ganesha, the power of Ganesha, he is the logic of all the departments of the university, all the faculties. So he's got a PhD from all the faculties. That is Ganesha. And so it says, and you have done the Narag Panchas, Shodasha Upachara and all that. So everything has a meaning for the Shodasha Upachara. And everything has a meaning. So that is the reason is, and again the Gana to occur, there should be a process which should be going on. And we have discussed in this very channel that process is a work done. Unless the work done takes place, you will not be able to measure or understand the logic. And that process is known as Kara. Kara means Shiva. Shankaroti iti Shankara hai. Mayak karoti iti Mayaskara hai. Shankaraya cha Mayaskara. It is also defined in the terms of seniority and juniority like that. Purvajaya cha Aparajaya cha. So, and he is the son of that Shiva. He is the son of Mahadeva. Son from which mother? Shakti represents the power. For every work done, there is a capacity to do work. So that consortium of Shankar, Shiva, Shakti has produced this Gana. If there was no power, the work would not have taken place. So that is the way this Gana se Isha, all these things flow. And Bhadrapad, we have the Bhadra Masa, Uttara Falguni star or Hasta star he is supposed to have, it is supposed to be celebrated as the birthday of Lord Ganesha. And in some places, a few days later, they also celebrate the marry his wedding with his Banigarana with this thing with Siddhi and Buddhi, as I explained. So in some places, some people do it on the Ananta Chaturdashi day before they send him off on to visit next year. So these are all practices which are practiced in different parts of the country in different ways. It is there. So that is how the Gana, these 14 days or 12 days or 11 days, he is staying in your house. He is spreading his blessings. And because of this Gana, see, let us be very clear about it. It can be proved in the laboratory that only most of us are using only 5% of the capacity of the brain. The most achievers like scientists, etc., or like somebody like Aditya Satsangi, who has written so many books, they may at the most use around 8 to 10% of the way. Maybe a Einstein or a Ramanujan might have used 11% of his way, and that is it. But this Gana and this Ganaparayana, if it is practiced in the right style, the propitiation of Ganesha can take your capacity by see, the brain is a flat surface on the top, and it is basically the way it is divided. If you see the structure of the brain, that penetration has to happen. The more oxygen it goes into it, like I said, in the 33 vertebrae, here it is, brain is also on a similar stage, our brain process. So you can penetrate up to 18% to make the brain work by this Ganapati Aradhana, if it is done in the right way and right style. 18 to right way and right style. The capacity to use the brain up to the highest level, maybe 18 or maybe 20%. It has to start, and the practice has to start very, very early, and the children have to be programmed and like that. Even at this stage also, many people may try to attempt. I do not know how much of that they are already using. So this also could be used as a mechanism to get illustrious humankind in this world. But there is a disclaimer to that. This capacity to use the Gana to 16 to 18% of the brain. The disclaimer I say is it should be for Shankara, that is for the good deeds in the world.
Yeah.
It should be for the good deeds. It was all the overall benefit of the Vishwa and not for destruction of the Vishwa, as the Chinese have done with the COVID and all that. And Gana is also propitiated in Japanese, they call it some Kagaten or something like that, because they realize the power of this logic. And that is also it is also validates one very fact that they are the capacity to be very, very organized and systematic and logical. Japanese capacity to be very, very logical also is bestowed because of that practice of propitiating the same practice, and more or less it is the same practice. Several other places in some form or the other. So that is the reason, and certain characteristics are characterized by this Gana. See, Ganesha is supposed to be elephant-headed, and there is a symbolism on this. So that is the reason why the elephant has got a very big head. This is actually symbolizing the fact which I am trying to tell before. That you can use the all parts of the brain. Your brain can be used more and more. It can be made to swell and used more and more. Okay, in a very positive sense.
So
It has got large. He has got large ears. Basically, every management professor will come and tell you, please learn to listen. Is it not? Let us learn to listen. That is one of the important aspects of any management concept. And same, if you see the image of Ganesha, it has got small eyes. The small eyes represents very basically, the small eyes represents the power of concentration, focus, extremely high level of focus. As Aditya, who has written books on Mahabharata, would know that in Bhagavad Gita, it ends with the final chapter, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Tatra Partho Dhanurdhara hai. Why I am bringing it here is, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Tatra Partho Dhanurdhara means, Yogeshwara Krishna is the benchmark of competence and focus. And for that, the divine help also, if it is there, your success is guaranteed. Similarly, Ganesha propitiation could lead you to any level of utilization of brain, your performance, your direction, everything, provided it is on a positive scale, could take you to commanding heights, which you cannot even really idealize, you cannot visualize. That is the power of Ganesha, and that is what is important to Ganesh symbolism. So, any questions, please?
very interesting. When Vyasdev is now blessed by Brahma, Brahma comes here when he's thinking of writing the history of the world for Kali Yuga, because people
Right.
in the Manda Sumanda Matyo Manda Bhagya Dupadita,
Right.
Prayana Alpayusha, always troubled, always with struggling with the brain, misguided. This is the condition of us, all of us, all
Most of
humanity,
us.
all,
Right.
entire humanity, not just us.
Humanity. No, you are right. You are right. You are right. I will
It's
agree with that.
now. So the Brahma tells Vyasdev, Brahmaji tells, it is my first book on Yudhishthir I wrote there. Brahmaji tells Vyasdev that I can only think of one person. Please pray to him. So Vyasdev prays to, see, Vedic culture is a culture of respect. All Devi Devatas respect each other. Nobody transgresses their boundaries.
Perfectly.
So this is how it, even Vishnu is respectful to his Devata because they are his carrying out his work.
Right.
And he's also very respectful. He prays to everybody. Like he comes down and washes the feet of Sandipani Muni, washes the feet of Yudhishthir, touches the feet of Yudhishthir Maharaj. He's showing the perfect example of how to be a younger brother.
There's an observation like that. There is a symbolism also there. There is a symbolism also there. Vishnuji comes down. See, basically, now I'll tell you one thing. Rama had to prove how the human should be perfectly living. What is the norms expressed in the Purusha Sukta and how one should live by that. Similarly, Vishnuji, Yudhishthira was Dharmaraja. He is the highest proponent of Dharma. He would not flinch from that Dharma. That is his asset, that is his identity. Vishnu comes, Narayana comes in the form of Narayana Sukta in Krishna Avatar. And that is the reason for anything, Dharma is paramount, even for gods. Am I correct?
Yes.
Even for Vishnu, he also knows Dharma is paramount, and who is identified with Dharma in that Treta Dwapara Yuga is Yudhishthira, not Vishnu himself. So that is the reason he washes his feet. This is all, everything, there is a beautiful interpretation, there is a beautiful connotation for that, and that is what is most important. We have to appreciate.
And then, so the thing was saying, so the Brahma tells Vyasdev to worship Ganesh, and Vyasdev is respected by everybody, and,
Perfectly.
but he's a great rishi, like with all the siddhi, and also he's invited by Brahma and Vishnu, Brahma and Shivji himself to come to the earth to write Vedic literature. No human can write it. It has
Right.
to be written by someone who is above humanity, above humans. So Brahma tells him to remember Ganesh, pray to Ganesh. And as soon as he prays to Ganesh, Ganesh ji appears immediately. And there is a first contract in the world, looks like. He says, I will stop writing if you stop speaking.
Speaking, you start dictating.
Yeah, dictating. And Vyasdev says, you don't write unless you understand something. So first contract, official. And then it goes on, and Ganeshji writes so many. Now the point which I want to come to is that now there is another Brahma Samhita also. Yat Padapalo Vinidaya Kumbha Donde Samana Ganadi Raja Vishnu Mahan is. So in that one, it is said that in Tumuli,
So
Ganeshji keeps the lotus feet of Vishnu on his head.
head, exactly.
And that's how he gets Narsinga Dev actually. He worships Narsinga. And Narsinga, we all know that he protected Prahlad,
With Prahlad from Hiranyakashipu.
Hiranyakashipu. So there is a very interesting there where he is keeping the. So the question is like when we talk about Ganeshji, which is above all of us and respectful for all of us, he is setting an example for us. See, when Krishna comes, he follows Yadid Acharya Shreshtas. He says in Bhagavad Gita that if I do not follow the rules, others will be ruined. The society will be ruined. So he's setting a great example for all of us. But the Ganesh also sets a great example where he is also telling us who he is connected to and where he's getting his Vignaharta power. So the honesty, you can see that palpable. Honesty is publicly visible in all the Devi
Perfectly,
Devta.
perfectly right. But you put it very well. In fact, you have put it much more comprehensively. But I was trying to convey it in the level in which the general public at large understands, so that not only should they be blessed by, not like that, but they can also invoke his blessings for increasing their capacity of the brain. See, Vedavyasa also had, with all his knowledge, had it not been Ganesha, he would not, and had it not been provoked by Ganesha, he would not have recalled. It's a memory recall. Memory recall means a brain function. So that is the basic understanding of it. Why this? You have to understand that this really happened. This happened means you have to understand itihasa thus happened. So that is the beauty of Ganesha, and that is the reason I always say Ganesha Icha.
And this
Before,
contract between
mm,
Ganesh and Vyasadev makes Mahabharata super authoritative because
absolutely,
Ganesh will not write anything unless he
which
understood
is
it, he saw it.
understood it. Sorry,
He has Mahadev's blessings,
validation, validation, validation,
validation.
validation,
So
validation.
Vyasadev is just speaking, and people say that some stories in
No,
Mahabharata are
no,
not
no, no,
real.
no.
Yeah,
No, no, no,
Ganesh,
it cannot be. It cannot be real. It cannot be unreal. It cannot
that's
be
true.
untrue. That is the beauty of it.
Now
So that is the power of Ganesha. That is the power of Ganesha.
coming to the today's world, Thailand just installed Ganesha as the principal deity for the country
Country
just
perfectly.
last week.
Few days,
Now,
25 feet Ganesha.
the hypothetical question: we are the land of Ganesha. Bharat is the land of Ganesha. Thailand also, because the whole thing is Jambudvip. So,
Jambudvip Bay.
yeah. So the question is: can India replace Sarnath with Ganesha? Is it possible? If they can do it, because the thing is,
Certain.
for Yagya Karma, you need Devi Devta. You cannot be on imaginary thing.
Right.
For the Yagya is always Devan Nishtan Bhogan Devyatan
Right.
Bhavatanena. So the shlokas are that without the blessings of Devta, prosperity doesn't come on the human level. There,
Perfectly. You.
there can be a Kali prosperity like USA has or the West has, which is a loot. It is a very ephemeral. It can disappear any moment
Right.
because it is not blessed by the Devta. You are working
Right.
against the Devta.
Absolutely right.
But the
You are
but prosperity with the devta will be in Satagun, which will be
yes,
happiness, peace for everybody. Hmm?
exactly. And disciplined, orderly.
Order,
Orderly is the dharma.
dharma. Like it will be well earned and it will be. So
Exactly, it is dharma driven. It was dharma driven, order driven. So,
just last question, and I know you have to go. The last question is it possible to bring the Ganesh consciousness in the society? Just like the Lokmanya Tilak started Ganesh Visarjan. In the Narad Pancharatrika Vidhi, there is no such thing. There is Abhishek,
no.
but no
Abhishek
Visarjan.
is there. Abhishek is, we also do Abhishek only. We do Pragara Utsava,
Yeah.
but no Visarjan
No
because it's
Visarjan.
a Prana Pratishtha time
Exactly.
temple.
Exactly.
Prana Pratishtha.
You cannot send a family member in the ocean or
Ocean, right.
anywhere in the water. He's a family
Right.
member.
He is, in fact, we are his family members.
We are his family.
We are his family members. That's what I perceive it. My wife treats him as a child, but I perceive him as a family
Yeah, I did
member.
Abhishek. I did not do Visarjan. I don't do Visarjan. I do only Abhishek
I,
because
I also did Abhishek. I have many Ganesha Pratimas at my place. There's a collection there. There's a specific one we do one for kept for Abhishek, and we do only Abhishek.
yeah. So the last question is like, how do we bring the Ganesh consciousness in the Bharat today?
See, Bharat, even the so-called practicing Sanatana Dharmis also, 50% so of those who claim in the census who are Sanatanis or Hindus or whatever it is, even 50% of they need to be brought into the fold of belief that it is Sanatana, it is the order, it is Itihasa, all these things. They respect their practices which have been inherited, common to us from, which have been got validation. We have to start at that level. On the Ganesha consciousness, we are trying to do in the temple also, the Ganesha temple with which I am associated. I am trying to do, but now this year Ganesh Chaturthi, the crowd was quite. I take pride in saying that it was very quite good. But 2 years prior, last 2 years, there had been a loss of momentum due to COVID. It will start. It will start at its appropriate time. There are certain calculations which is required, but it will start. We are on the verge. We are on the doorstep of Ganesha is on the doorstep of coming over to our minds, and coming into our minds is the more practical thing because that capacity of brain working can only be created by Ganesha. And Bharat, it will happen because now some sort of a Renaissance period is started. So I'm sure something will happen. I'm not talking of the politicians. I do not stand with any political party. I do not speak for any political party. It has to come from the people at large, the practitioners at large, the Sanatana practitioners at large. People like the Sattology channel or etc. can also come out with their communication messages. You have yourself done some good work. So I hope it will take we will all join in the manifestation of Ganesha being the driver of the Indian prosperity, the driver of the Indian Ramarajya. See, basically that is the state of Ramarajya, what you are talking of, and the Indian Ramarajya certainly the driver of that will be Ganesha only. And it has to be Ganesha. And that consciousness, slowly people when they see, because the Ganesha, the beauty of Ganesha is when you walk the path around 10 steps with him, then you start walking, they start realizing the non-obstacled, frictionless path you are going to, your chariot is going to take. You have to walk at least 20 to 30 steps with him. Only then the aprati ratham will come. The ratham will be without any prati, without any inertia or friction. Eh? That is the way you have to see it. That is the way you have to see it.
So thank you so much, Dr. Mani,
Thank you,
for being
Ganesha.
on the show, and thank you all the viewers for watching. And Ganesha is a way to move forward. He's the first step as well as the last step sometimes.
Last.
So
Thank you very much. Ganesha, thank you, Ganesha.
Namaste.